My name is Barbara Kuriger. I'm the MP for Taranaki King Country, which is an electorate that goes from Toko to the boundary of Ngaruawahia, including the Forgotten Highway, and I'm extremely interested in food production, and of course that makes me extremely interested in waste of food as well, which is why I'm undertaking this project. I started the challenge on May the 1st, and I'm still going. I know I've got a 10-day booklet, but I decided to do it for the whole month of May because I always know that it takes 21 times to form a habit, and so if it's a daily thing, it's always pretty critical ticking that box on the end of the day to show that you keep doing it. Well, having a background as a dairy farmer, but also an agribusiness person involved in, discussing horticulture and a whole range of things, that we're all looking at what we can best do for the environment, and we're all trying to make the world a better place. And all of this compliance and best practice that we're doing, if we're going to throw 20 or 30% of what we produce away, then it undoes what we're doing. And food production is something that the whole community is involved with because we all eat it. So I think it's just something that I want to encourage people to think about before they throw anything away. I've got a graph here that blows my mind, because what this graph says that if food loss and waste were its own country, it would be the third largest greenhouse gas emitter in the world. So there's food waste there. And it just falls in behind China and the United States. So for me, we can talk about what we do as a little country, but actually collectively over the world, just by throwing away food, we're creating a whole lot of problems that we really don't need to have. I find that if I just shop for what I need, and for me I live in more than one house, so it's not a matter of going and filling my fridge up every time I get to my house, it's just buying the amount that I need. I think the other thing that's really been helpful is having one of those bullets that whizzes up your drinks, that if you've got a few bits and pieces of leftovers, it doesn't matter if they mix and match or what colour food it is, you just throw it all in and it generally turns out to be something quite nice. So you can use up a lot of bibs and bobs that way, or do a stir fry. But yeah, I think buying the quantities that you actually need, or buying quantities that you can freeze for a later date, are probably the two best options. The biggest challenge for me is often I'm invited as a Member of Parliament out to a breakfast or a meal, and you bought this big plate food of stuff, so instead of having a buffet or a little size meal that a little short woman like me might want to eat, you get this big plate. Recently it had tomatoes and sausages and bacon and eggs and mushrooms, and it may have had a hash brown, I don't know, but it was huge. And I sat there and I ate it all because I didn't want to waste it, because I didn't want to ruin my diary. But actually I would have much preferred something half the size and had the opportunity to go back for seconds, because I did notice a lot of food was just being pushed to one side, because most people don't eat a breakfast of that size these days. They'd eat half the size of what we were served. And good hospitality is great, but just watching that food being pushed away didn't do it for me. Yeah, I absolutely will, because I think that whole 21 times to form a habit is really powerful, and food waste is something that I didn't like doing before and I still don't like doing, but just the commitment of filling out the diary, and actually once you've done something for so long it almost feels like really bad to break that habit. And look, I didn't waste much food before, but I'm trying to get to absolute close to zero as possible, so yes, I'll be carrying on. I would really encourage as many people as possible to get into the process of love food, hate waste. I mean, we all love food, we all love to eat, but I think we can proudly do it and stop throwing it away, and just enjoy what we have, or as I said before, share it around, give it to somebody rather than wasting it is a much better option. So, I've had a look at the Facebook site. There's a whole lot of tips on there about ways that you can get to the zero waste thing, so give it a go.